And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, the one, the only Impact Wrestling star, the beautiful man himself, Rohit Raju.
What's up, fellas? How you guys doing?
I see you're drinking out of your last Jedi mug.
Yeah, don't ever insult this Darth Vader mug like that ever again.
Hey, I just want you to finally admit that after the prequels were made, that The Last Jedi is a top 5 Star Wars movie made after the prequels. Seeing as there's only 5, I think you can agree with that.
Do you want to start this conversation? I hate that movie so much. I've never even watched it again after. I refuse to watch it. And then the funny thing is the sequel trilogy is such a disappointment to me. Now, granted, I will say this. They are better made movies than the prequels. But the prequels as a whole tells an actual coherent story, whereas the sequel trilogy is just I don't know, man. That thing's a hot mess, and I don't know. You get what you get when you just do have a committee trying to make a movie, and you don't have an A, B, and C, and you just let people do whatever they want with it. And it failed.
That sounds a lot like some New York-based wrestling company. I don't know, man. Just seems things don't really have a full coherent story. I actually wanted to talk to you real quick. It's something I thought of last night. Just at work, I was talking about old stuff, wrestling, and how, you used to have the backstage vignettes, and how we were having you come on today. And a lot of the stuff that you've been doing is, a lot of backstage with vignettes with Chris Bey, the stuff with TJP and Falaba and everything. And you're like, but I can work with that. And you take off running to go, Chris Bey. And I'm like, dude, that's genius. That's not something you see in any wrestling company much anymore. There's a lot of backstage vignettes where the interviewer is interviewing them, but you don't get a lot of wrestler interaction anymore. Like even AEW, WWE, other things that you're watching, there's anything backstage is usually a interview type promo now. You guys are still in Impact, are still doing what they did back in the day, because that was some of the best stuff. Kurt Angle and Steve Austin.
Yeah.
With, Kurt Angle with the little hat. Interviews are great too, but some of the stuff that made you love somebody so much more was the backstage interaction. Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar with the milk and things like that. So you guys are doing that. I honestly feel Impact Wrestling right now, in my honest, humble opinion, it's not just because you're on the show, I've said it for the last couple of weeks, is overall the best thing to watch in wrestling, because it just feels more fun. I know a lot of people like AEW for the high spots and the matches and everything. And there are people that if you watch WWE and you're a diehard fan of WWE, you're in for the entertainment. You're not in there for the wrestling ability, because everything's basically the same. Right. And sure, you can have a lot of great matches in AEW, but sometimes out of certain areas, it just feels like they're trying to give you these high spot matches. You guys at Impact are overall, I think, encompassing everything that's making it better. Even with Heath coming back and trying to, Scott D'Amore playing along with him in the backstage and things like that. It's a huge combination. So what do you think? I mean, are they doing that on purpose because they don't think it's in wrestling, or is it just something that they feel to do because, hey, this is great for our audience?
I don't know. As far as when it comes to stuff like that, I don't talk to creative. So to my knowledge, they were always doing that. Mm-hmm. I remember even back when I think Bischoff was there, they were doing those style of backstage promos where they were like, "Oh, just pretend like the camera's not there," type stuff. Mm-hmm. And but it does go back to where you said like the Attitude Era, because that stuff was great. I love that, and I'm a big fan of also cutting the regular promo. But so you get a little bit of both A and B of that, and they probably do it to. It helps with the story. Mm-hmm. It helps tell whatever the storyline is. One of my biggest problems, to me, professional wrestling, like all media, has become this elitist thing. Like mm-hmm. There's so many elitist fans out there. And for me, they have to have something to dog on. And each company has its great things. Each company has its bad things. Now, I will agree. I haven't watched WWE in a long time. I don't know how their creative works. I have only know what people that work there have told me. But I am, as a wrestling fan, I am not into what they do. I've tried to watch it, and I'm just like, I can't get into it. And I like a lot of the wrestlers, a lot of the talent that's there. I'm a huge fan of a lot of people. I think Randy Orton's one of the best guys out there today of all time.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just some things I just can't get into, and I don't. And it to me, it feels like, I always say this, it feels like they used to be back in the Attitude Era. They were professional wrestling trying to be a TV show. Now they feel like they're a TV show trying to be professional wrestling. It's very corporate, and it's like you said, a lot of it is the same. It's like this cut and paste, copy paste, copy paste. And for me, as a wrestling fan, I don't dig that. AEW, I like some things, and I don't like some things. I am not a big fan of the super high spot, crash and burn, crash and burn, crash and burn, crash and burn.
Right.
My favorite matches. Now, I love watching Kenny Omega wrestle. I think he's one of the best. I think he's fantastic. But to me, I get invested in. To me, one of my favorite feuds will always be The Rock and Austin, and that is because if you ever look at their matches aren't, compared to what people call spectacular nowadays, they're not spectacular. It's punch, 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 brawl on the outside, duck one, hit the Thez, maybe back body drop. But there's so much emotion and drama that has been built of who they are. You can't wait to see them tear into each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like boxing. Sometimes you just like to watch people punch and brawl, but then you like to see the sweet sides of it, where you're counter punching and you're moving around and you're playing defense and stuff like that. And it depends on what type of fan you catch. I like the stuff when like MJF is cutting a promo, or Cody cuts a very emotional promo, stuff like that, or the big reveal when Brian Cage comes down. Those are the moments for me. And then they have the match. But in the matches, it's almost like, and I'm not trying to insult the product, but some of the matches, it just reminds me of a glorified indie show where there is no substance sometimes. And it's like, okay, how can we get to the next spot? And then sometimes that is done real well. Like when you watch Okada and Kenny Omega, there's high spots, but it's put in the right time and place, and there's that drama that unfolds. Sometimes there's that, oh, let's just get all this crazy stuff in, and then fans are just like, oh my God, that's so amazing. These guys are great. You know what I mean? And it's just like, okay, if that's what you like, cool. But to me, that's not great just because you can do this move or you did this crazy spot, as I like to call it, or Cody Deaner would call it, GIF wrestling. It's the GIF wrestling, and the highlights are what gets you over nowadays, or how good you are at social media. It's almost where social media pushes popularity over talent. So, and I do feel like Impact has a grasp on all of that. Mm-hmm. And the biggest thing that bothers me is that we get treated like shit. Our company gets insulted. Our company, people still act like we're the same company when what's her face was running it. I can't remember.
Dixie Carter. Dixie.
Yeah, we're not the same company. Or when Jeff Jarrett was running it, or when Bischoff and Hogan were running it. It's not the same company.
No.
Yes, we have minor issues. There was something that made me upset. That there was audio issues when Heath and I were doing our segment on Slammiversary. I don't care what you say. Nobody was hyping up LAX, but now everyone's on their nuts that they're on AEW. Nobody was really talking about Brian Cage as much, but now everyone's on his nuts that he's in AEW. Nobody was talking about Killer Cross as much, except when he was going through the contract dispute. Nobody's talking. Now they're talking about him because he's on NXT. Where do you think these guys come from? You know, what do you think they were doing when they were with us? They were kicking ass. What do you think the North is doing? They're one of the best tag teams in professional wrestling right now, but they don't get that recognition because of where they're at. And there's a lot of things that Impact could do better, hands down, but what company in professional wrestling promotion couldn't? And I hate the fact that these elitist fans are like that, like, oh, Impact sucks because this, oh, you're bringing Heath Slater because you realize Heath Slater is a talented individual that never got his shot. I'm going to put myself over. Yeah. Do you realize that I'm a talented individual that for the longest time I've been eating shit at this company? You know what I mean? What if I went to a different company and people are like, well, Raju's a jobber because yada, 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 yada. It's stupid. That mentality is so stupid, and it honestly bothers me. It's, you know, and Impact now, they're finally like, well, you know, let's give this dude an opportunity. So every opportunity they give me, I take advantage of it. So they give me more opportunity. and it's now I'm starting to make headway for myself, you know, and it just makes me mad that, you know, you put us over like that, but not a lot of people view us like that. They just they bandwagon jump. Oh yeah, this wrestler says this is shit, so I'm going to say that. It's like, have some balls, think for yourself. It's so annoying. And that type of mentality, it drives me up the wall. And I think I stand by our product, not because I worked there. When I first got there in 2017, I thought it was horrible. I was like, this is some horrible shit. But it got better, and it kept getting better. And there's still room for improvement, hands down. But our Slammiversary card was amazing. The surprises,
from
the
top to bottom.
Yeah, and the people that were watching it and commenting on it, you know what I mean? That should show you right there. And I just think we get a horrible a shake. We don't get a fair shake. People already judge us, and they keep us in this category, and they judge us from past experiences where we've blown that out of the water. We're not even that company anymore. We're a way better company. And I do think we have every right to be considered top 3. But for whatever reason, Twitterverse and, you know, wrestling fandom, it doesn't allow us that, because everything has become so elite. It's the same thing with movies, same thing with video games, anything entertainment wise. Everyone has become such an elitist to where if you're not in this group, then you don't know what you're talking about. And it's like, just like it. It's wrestling, like AEW, like WWE. You don't have to like everything about it, but it's wrestling. There's certain things you can like about it. Like, I love New Japan. You know what I mean? But I don't like everything that New Japan does. I think that all their 6-man tags are exactly the same. But when it comes to their big shows, I don't think people can touch that. You know what I mean? It's like the same thing with us. I think we're doing so many things that are well, and we have so many great people on our roster. We don't get the credit that we deserve. It's annoying, frankly. It's very annoying.
I can't even argue that. You know, it's been crazy. Smitty has been putting over Impact Wrestling since, honestly, man, I want to say, day one, since like a little bit before the last time that we had you on. Because the last time that we had you on, obviously the first time you came on our show was like, it's crazy to see you grow in this company, right? You come on the show, you're doing the little things. You're still going by the old school name and everything, but then you come in the next one. You've had a good run so far for a year and a half. You're in the Desi Hit Squad, and now you're doing stuff that's even higher up the card. We are watching you grow, and dude, you're one of the people who, regardless of wrestling ability, you're just one of the nicest people too. You're straight up. You're honest. You're not one of these bullshitters or anything that you hear a lot about in certain companies. You're just a good human being. And then the fact that you're also talented in ring, spectacular on the mic. You know, anytime we hear you talk, it's great. There's comedy in it. There's seriousness when it needs to be. I will champion you because of just who you are. It's literally like watching one of your favorite indie wrestlers just get bigger and bigger, and you're like, dude, I've been on his bandwagon since day one. And like you're saying, now with Impact, it's kind of that same thing. Yes, it was having a problem at one point where it was like, it would take one step forward and then there'd be 2 steps back. Last time you guys weren't on Access TV, you were on the show. You were just getting Twitch, so it was becoming a little bit more mainstream. But like you said, last time, you're like, I think in my honest opinion, that you needed a good television station to reach a broader audience. Then you got Access TV. Now you guys are reaching a broader audience, and again, it is nowhere near the same thing it was the last time you were even on the show.
No,
and Smitty has been and Smitty's been championing it since before that. I personally have I would watch here and there. Obviously, I'm putting you over anytime I see you, but I've never watched a show that I've been like, that wasn't that good, you know, or it was hit and miss. You know, like you said, you can find anything about something that you don't like, that you're not supposed to like.
Not everything's going to be great. Like, even,
right.
You know, in Impact, there's things like I'll be watching backstage and be like, eh. And then there's things I'm like, man, how come people aren't talking about this? And,
right.
You know, and it is. And I honestly, I want to say I appreciate, like, you guys, especially you, because you're always, you know, singing my praises, like, on social media and stuff. I don't have a huge fan base, but I do have a cult following, and it continues to grow. And it's funny, I'll sneak into Twitch. If I have time, I'll watch, you know, I try to watch Impact and do live tweets. But I'll sneak in on the Twitch chat, and there's a bunch of people every time I'm on there. They're like, why don't they do more with him? And this, that, and the other. and they're finally giving me a little something, giving me a little storyline and stuff, which is, makes me feel great because I feel like I'm one of those people that has the ability to do whatever they need me to do. And I have, whether, like you said, it's been comedy, whether it's been slapstick, whether it's been serious. To me, Kurt Angle was one of the best at that. He could turn it on, he could turn it off. He could be very silly Kurt Angle, and then when he could be a killer, and he could just be boom, just like that. To me, I remember there was a wrestler, I won't say who he was. He's like, what are you? Sometimes you're funny, but then when you're in the ring, you're angry. He's like, you got to choose one. And I'm thinking to myself, excuse me, I'm not Kurt Angle, not even close. I'm not Eddie Guerrero, but those were guys that could do it right from jump. Heel Steve Austin, he could do that. He could be that funny, and then he could be a stone cold killer in the next. To me, it's range, it's diversity. You should be able to do that. So that's those are my inspirations as far as the character goes, and that's what I try to do. And I've been frustrated with the company. There was a while there where they're like, we're keeping you in the hit squad, you're doing all this stuff, and I'm just wanting to break out. And I kind of got the opportunity to do that because of COVID. So, Shira's in India, Raj is injured, Gama's in Calgary, so they're not coming over anytime soon. So now it's just me. So it's like, hey, what do we have? We have to do something with him. What can we do? So they throw me a bone, I kill it. They throw me a bone, I kill it. They put me in this backstage vignette. Everyone, people start talking about it. They put me on there with Heath, which was super cool. And I'm going to say this, Heath Slater or Heath Miller, whatever, one of the coolest guys. You put me over, that's him. I was very nervous when I did my thing with him because I didn't know how he would be. He's coming from WWE. He's making a ton of money. I've dealt with people like that before that are complete assholes. When the guy that was doing our segment introduced me to him, he goes, "Oh yeah, I know who this is. I've been watching him. He was with Terry doing, his stuff. I've been paying attention to him." And then I laid out what I kind of wanted to do after I figured out, what we're going. He's like, "Man, I love that." He goes, "I don't even need that much. How about I just reverse this and you come out the corner and I'll hit you with my deal and everything else you want to do, you do it." And I said, "Are you okay with that?" He's like, "Yeah, man." He said, "Do you get yourself over?" And I said, "All right." And then when I did it, he thanked me and he goes, "Are you nervous?" Before we went out there, I said, "I'm always nervous." I said, "But I'm more anxious. It's more about I want to do it." I said, "But as soon as I get through the curtain, it's go time." I said, "Are you nervous?" He goes, "Kinda." I said, "But how are you nervous? You've been in, this situation a lot." He goes, "Yeah, but it is what it is." I said, "Okay." And we sat down, we talked, and after it was done, he goes, "I just want to thank you. I know how it is being that guy where every time someone new comes in the company, you got to put them over. And you're struggling to make a name for yourself, and every time they bring in somebody new, you got to put them over." He goes, I just want to let you know I've been in your situation, and I appreciate that." And then he was just really cool, and we talked, and we talked about how we get frustrated with wrestling. He was talking about his frustrations, when he was at WWE. And then at the same time, I was telling him, I said, the only reason I still do it is because I love, and before I could finish my sentence, at the same time, we both said wrestling. I was like, this guy is one of the good ones, you can tell. And he was just super cool, man. And he thanked me every time I saw him at the tapings. He thanked me for Saturday. He thanked me for Saturday. And he put me over. He said, "Your money." He said, you have what you need to do. Your promo was great. Your strikes and everything were great." He said, "Your money. You just got to keep hustling." And I thought that was really cool because we both were talking about how we've dealt with some assholes in this business. You know what I mean? I've dealt with guys that weren't even that over, but they made it. You know what I mean? They made it to WWE. They made it to WCW. And then you deal with them, and they're just like, it's like, dude, did you forget where you came from? I'm trying to do the same thing you did. I'm sitting here hustling and struggling and eating shit. Like, you did that. So why would you be an asshole to me? Why would you already assume, like, hey, man, this promotion booked me against you for a reason because I'm good and I'm going to put on a good match with you. So why would you be an asshole? Or I signed the dotted line for a reason. I may not be at your level yet, but what do you think I'm here for? I'm trying to be at your level. And so I've dealt with a lot of people like that. But it's funny because sometimes it comes full circle. And, you see these people again, and maybe they didn't expect you to be sticking around this long. And then they see you, and you're in a position where they're not anymore. And you see them again, and they're just like, "Oh, hey, what's up, man? It's good to see you." It's like, yeah, when I first met you, it wasn't that, cocksucker, and now it's a little bit different. You know what I mean? So, but I am where I would want to be vengeful and tell them to eat shit. I don't. I shake their hand because I'm a professional, and that's just how I am. But yeah, man, he's a great dude, and I'm very happy that Impact is finally giving me things. Like, I got to Moose is one of their top guys, so I got to do a promo with him. I felt like that promo was very entertaining. Then I have a match where I get to be in the ring with Tommy Dreamer. You know what I mean? Tommy Dreamer's one of their top guys, and I'm tagging with Moose. So, and then I do a spot where I go and I'm on a pay-per-view cutting a live promo with Heath, and Heath is obviously someone they care about because they're bringing him in. They want to make it special, and they put me in that situation. Yeah. Even the same thing with Scarlett when they gave her first intergender match. They put me in that role. So it's, for me, I'm not where I want to be because I know I can be a top guy, but also I have to realize they're putting me in good spots because they trust me and they know that I'm going to get that segment over. So, but I don't always want to be the workhorse. I don't always want to be the good hand because I know I can be more than the good hand. So, and
future X Division champion.
I hope so. That's, you know what I mean? I hope that's what it is. Hell, future world champion. I know I'm not the tallest, biggest guy, but Daniel Bryan proves that, you don't need to be, in my opinion. To me, my promos are what separate. I can't do what the Rascals do. There's no way in hell I'm going to do that sliding fucking Canadian destroyer like
the thing that Naomi did.
Which was like, dude, that was. But I don't think it was Naomi's fault. I think it was Lacey's fault because Lacey didn't go. She kind of, you know what I mean? Like, Naomi was going, and Lacey kind of, I think she was scared to take it, which is a freaky move to take. Yeah. But Trey and Swan, it was like, ooh,
beautiful.
God, man. Those two guys, give me goose. I've got goosebumps just thinking about it, man. That
part of the interruption. The only reason I give shit to Naomi with it is because on Twitter today, I was literally just showing Z and Smitty that she goes, it's actually a sliding blockbuster, not a Canadian destroyer. It's just something I thought of. She literally said it's something I thought of that I didn't take from anybody else. And it's like, dude, it was just done weeks ago.
Yeah, you can't. You lose face real quick right there.
Oh, man. So I was just like, all right, cool. Rather than just, saying there was a botch in the move, which it happens to everyone. No one's expected to be perfect. It's not. I think Lacey and Naomi can go. You know what I'm saying?
Hands down.
But there was a mess up. It's simple as that. Just accept it. But don't tell anybody that it's a sliding blockbuster and it's your move. It's like, it's not. Someone literally just did it in Impact a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
So you were talking about you've been getting thrown a bone because of COVID. So let's talk a little bit about COVID. It has completely changed the wrestling landscape. Right? Yeah. There went from shows with no fans to shows being shut down for a little bit. To shows where AEW is doing it, where it has faces and heels in the crowd being very themselves, to WWE bringing in the piped noise with real people, right? It's like, this is who you're going to cheer for. This is who you're going to boo. That's what you're going to do. Do that. But you guys are still doing it, no fans at all. And yet somehow, I guess I just shouldn't be surprised anymore. It's still very entertaining to watch. It's not like you're watching a no-fan product. How is the locker room right now dealing with COVID? And how does it feel to be out there as a wrestler doing things with no fans?
When we first started doing it, and even the first day you're there, it's rough because the fans, it's like they always say, they give basketball, it's a sixth man, you know what I mean? It gives you that adrenaline. When you walk out there, you hear those cheers, or you hear those boos, and you're telling that story. But as you're telling that story in the ring, and you have them, it's like it gets you like, man, I can do anything. Okay, you want to do that top rope suplex? Let's do it. Even though I'm going to feel it 10 minutes after we get to the back, but you don't care. When you get out there for the first time, I never forget I think my first match was a 6-way X Division match. Man, and Trey hit me with a forearm, and I was just like, oh, what am I doing? And then you get hit, you take that first bump, and you're just like, oh, man, because it's not, that adrenaline isn't going. But after a while, you start cooking, and then you're good to go because it's just like wrestling. Wrestling, it's like riding a bike, and then you forget. And instead of playing to the crowd, you're playing to the camera, and you get a little bit more of your character over, which is pretty sweet. I think the rest. I mean, we prefer fans. One of my biggest things, I miss going to shows. I miss, I'm glad I get to do Impact, but man, not being able to do shows every weekend, that's money out of my pocket. That's also just not being able to wrestle and perfect your craft a little bit more, because that helps you try new things and stay crisp and stuff like that when you're doing these shows and make some money. So that really sucks. And I don't see how that's going to change, because TV is one thing because it's TV, so you can get away with that. Unless you're putting it on like IWTV or something of that nature, or you're doing outside shows, you're not having any shows.
Right.
And I don't know what people are going to do in the wintertime. I have no idea what they're going to be doing in the winter, like these outside shows, unless they travel south where it's obviously warmer. But I have no clue. And that sucks. For me, I'll probably have to pick up a part-time job doing something because the money just isn't coming in. When I was wrestling, it was Impact and then wrestling every single weekend. Bang, bang, bang. And money was just, it was fine. I was good. I could pay bills, and my wife, she'd work and pay bills. So it was working. But now it's like, man, I might have to go back to the 9 to 5 and hustle on the side and do all that stuff. But I'm going to do that probably after summer, because I've enjoyed my summer. Luckily for me, I have a home gym, and I'm in the best shape I've ever been in, like physical-wise. Cardio sucks, but my body, I'm at 180 pounds, and for the longest time, I couldn't keep that. Plus, I'm getting older, and so my body doesn't shed weight. And like I like to, if I drink, it's like the next day I'm bloated as all hell. So. But I stay at 180, and normally I would fluctuate between 165 and 173. But now I'm staying at 180. I eat grilled food every single day. I lift every single day. I get all my protein that I'm supposed to get, and I'm in better shape than I ever was, which is freaking sweet. So for me, it's a little bit different. But everyone's suffering. Especially wrestlers, you can't go wrestle. You're not getting unemployment if you didn't have a job beforehand. And then people are having to go get jobs and get work and stuff like that. But for me, I'm just trying to make the best of it. I do miss doing a lot of things, but I've been working on my house. I put in a new kitchen floor. I'm going to be painting the kitchen again today. So that's all I've been trying to do, and just make the best of my time, because life don't stop. You just got to adjust to it.
Right. One of the biggest things in wrestling right now, and actually it has affected every company, your company for sure, has been the speaking out movement. I don't want to get into specifics or anything like that on anybody at all. I don't care, right? I only want to know regarding to you is how things are currently in the locker room with all of this. How do you think things should change so a lot more people are more comfortable? Because let's not pretend like this is just women, because a lot of men came out to talking about things that happen with other people. But it seems to be like there was an old school mentality that needs to grow, right? Yeah. But at the same time, it affected your company in a way that I thought your company handled it the best. I thought Impact Wrestling, I feel personally handled it the best. That's another reason why I've kind of stopped watching other wrestling companies, because I'm like, as a father of a daughter who's 11 and will grow up, and whether she does anything, I'm like, I don't want to ever be associated with something that would just make it look like my daughter doesn't have a voice in her feelings. Like, I also understand that there's a lot of times where it's like, this person said this happened, so we have to do this to this person. And that's not true either. Right. I think that everything does need a full fledged type investigation. But then there's other companies that are like, we're going to wait to hear something. And then you got 4 or 5 more people coming out, and they're like, we're still going to wait to hear something. Right. You guys, however, handled the situations that you had quick. And now I'm just wondering, how is it in the locker room since? And then again, how do we move forward in wrestling to where this is not such a big thing that ever, like, there's always going to be something. Let's not pretend like anything's going to be perfect in the future, but something like an internet explosion of this guy did that, this woman did this person did that. We should never have anything like that again. Instances, sure, you're not going to avoid it. How do you think wrestling should move forward to hopefully never get this again?
Well, there's always that mentality in professional wrestling that was I guess you could say, fraternity mindset, where you had to. I totally believe in paying your dues. I am not this wrestling is for everybody person. I believe you should be setting up rings. I believe you should be working hard and busting your ass. I do not believe you should be doing sexual favors or any of that stuff. That's just ridiculous. And I feel horrible for these victims that had to come out and people that have dealt with that stuff. That's insane. And I think that's just people that were already, I guess, having that mindset and having power and take advantage of their power on these people that were trying to break into a business, and they were trying to, either one, they had no respect for the victims that they did this to. They obviously had no respect for them. Or two, they figured, hey, I'm untouchable. I can get away with this. That sucks. As far as the locker room's fine. I'm sure people go off and they have their private conversations, but the locker room's fine. It's crazy because some of these people that are gone, I was friends and I was friends with them, and I talked to them on a regular basis, and I actually looked to them for advice. But then there's that side of them that just whatever, you know what I mean? That's on them, and that's horrible. Yeah. And it's crazy when stories like that would come out. I was like, damn, that's insane. I never thought that was happening, but it did, and it's very unfortunate, and it's more unfortunate for the victims. And I think it was so crazy, but good for people for coming out and speaking out on that stuff. I do believe some people tried to take advantage of it, and to me, it took away from the victims, and they just tried to be like, well, I got bullied and this and this. And sometimes the bully, for me, I believe in tough love. I believe in certain things. Obviously, certain things get taken too far, but I believe in some of the things people were saying were just like, okay, you either one, you have a vendetta against this person, or two, you just want attention, or three, you're misunderstanding what the whole speak out thing is about. I believe in tough love. That's for me because I grew up in an era where a coach was screaming in my face, telling me to get my ass up and do the play right. Some people don't agree with that. That's me. I have thicker skin. I deal with racism and stupid shit on a weekly basis. So because of the color of my skin or my name or whatever, especially in professional wrestling, I get for years that people have tried to stereotype me or typecast me or whatever. Luckily with Impact, they want me to do an Indian gimmick, but it's still me being me. So, but I've dealt with that stuff. But I'm not saying that's just me. I'm not saying people are wrong for how they feel, but I do feel that some people try to take that and turn it into a personal vendetta, or they misunderstood what the message was, and they tried to use that, and it wasn't the time or place for that. I think professional wrestling, people just need to grow up. You can't be doing that type of stuff. Be good human beings to each other. I do believe in getting that tough love. If you messed up in the ring and you get your ass chewed out backstage, that I believe in that. You're a professional. You should be doing the things that you're trained to do. And if you can't do that spot or that thing, you need to like, hey man, I'm not comfortable doing that, or I don't think I can do it. Let's not do it. Especially at a high caliber level. Now being treated like shit, I don't believe in. Being sexually abused, no, I don't believe in. Locker room talk, if some were to say it, sure, you can do that stuff around your friends, but don't talk inappropriately around people that you don't know or that are uncomfortable with it. That's just common sense, in my opinion. You just don't do stuff like that. I think people just need to get that type of mentality. It needs to leave not only wrestling, but just things in general. And if you're that type of person, then you either need to do a quick course correction, or you need to get the hell out, because you don't need that. In professional wrestling, we don't need it. And you need that type of solidarity between people, and you don't need predators preying on people. That's just ridiculous to me. So especially like young girls and stuff like that. Some of that stuff blew my mind. And it's sick, man. It's real sick. But I hope that this is a wake up call, and I don't want to. Some people were getting in trouble for saying stuff that they did years ago, and we've all said stupid stuff, whether it was right or wrong. And some things were between this person and that person, but it's that mob mentality where everybody wants to jump on. You know what I mean? Like this. Sometimes cancel culture is not right. Sometimes people, they just jump on the bandwagon. You're guilty until proven innocent, and they want to ruin your life. I have said plenty of things to offend people and been like, man, what the hell was I doing? Why did I say that? I learned from it. I have done things. I have upset people. I have offended people. I have reacted out of anger. I'm a human being. I don't do that consistently. But the thing is, I've learned from my mistakes, and I would never repeat them again. And I would expect other people that have done these things to learn from their mistakes. And something I didn't like was when I saw some people speaking out and condemning certain people. Some of these people are not squeaky clean. You know what I mean? They were doing the same thing that some of these dudes were doing. You know what I mean? And that's not okay. So don't be throwing those stones unless you can better yourself and correct yourself. And that's one thing I think everybody needs to. Yes, you can be like, you can speak out against that stuff. Not like the people, the victims, but like fans or other people that try to rally around it. But you better be speaking out, looking in the mirror too, and be like, hey, there's things I got to change. Or there's things that I did that I can't do again, because we're all guilty of that, whether it's really heinous or not. Like the heinous stuff and the stuff that it continues, no, that's not okay. You can't do that. And that has no place in anywhere in society. And that's just wrong, period. Yeah. You shouldn't be doing that stuff. But some of the lighter stuff, I guess you could say, like the words or the stuff that came across bullying. I know a lot of people are guilty of that. And we all need to better ourselves and not be assholes to people and make sure it's not a thing that we're continuing. Like I try to treat everybody with respect. I was bullied as a kid. And then when I got to, I think like 4th, 5th grade, I said, man, screw this. And I started being a bully. I started having a chip on my shoulder. And anyone that said anything cross to me, I was fighting them. And by the time I got to high school, I didn't want to be that person anymore. I found people that I got along with and, that I clicked up with, and I was cool. And I just want to have fun with my friends. And then as I got into, and I don't want to be taken off subject, but as I got older, I didn't want to hold on to that negativity. I didn't like when people disrespected me, so I would speak out on it, or I would react to it and try not to react in a way that would get myself in trouble. But I would stand up for myself. And I know how that feels, man. And nobody should feel that. So when young wrestlers come to me and say, hey, can you watch my promo? Can you watch my match? I don't tear them down. I'll give them constructive criticism, but I don't tear them down. I don't believe in bullying people. I've been, like I said, when I went to Impact in 2017, there was cliques and wrestlers there that treated you like shit. And I hated it, and it's not like that anymore. I think our locker room is a really good locker room that people could learn from. We don't allow that mentality in there. And when it did happen, those people are gone. When they got found out for it, they're gone. That type of stuff, it shouldn't be allowed. And you should honestly stick together and not allow that stuff to happen in a locker room. But also, I think, like I said, going back to what I was originally saying, people need to look at themselves and better themselves in a lot of ways too before you jump on somebody for saying something stupid, because we've all said something stupid. And but the other stuff, like I was saying, the heavy accusations, the sexual assault, stuff like that has no place anywhere. And I hope now that the Speak Out movement has happened, that professional wrestling can smarten up and move on from that stuff and weed out those people and get them out of the business, because that has no place anywhere, let alone professional wrestling.
It's I agree with that. We were talking about last week. I guess the only name I'm going to bring up is because it's the only one that I constantly mention, the Sammy Guevara thing with AEW. Like everyone's like, "Oh, he should be fired. He said this stuff. He said, oh, I'd rape her." The Sasha Banks. Like, well, one, let's not pretend like he actually said he was going to rape her. It was a stupid compliment, which should not have been used. It's like saying you were going to drink a girl's bathwater. Right.
Exactly.
But at the same time, he was 22. If I was ever judged for anything I did when I was 22 years old, I'd be an absolute piece of shit human being. Yeah. We're growing. And as long as you grow and get better, it's fine. You know, do I fully agree with how AEW handled him coming back and stuff? No, but that doesn't mean I feel like the guy himself needs to be belittled and made an example of in such a way that is that he loses his livelihood for it. Dude, he's grown up. That was 4 years ago. He's not said anything like that you can find recently. You know, he put out a stupid joke on Twitter about her looking like Ricochet when he had his long hair. And that's, again, is it right? Maybe, whatever. It's very subjective, but it's not like he again came through with a whole rape line. So no, you don't want to go too far.
That's an insult that he was doing, or he was trying to be funny, and it's just like, whatever, man. That's tongue in cheek, but that again goes to that mob mentality. People think they just want to tear other people down. It's weird because they think they're in the right. They're not in the right. I saw people. One girl tried to speak out against something, and then another girl who was really spearheading this tried to shame her. And then fans got on her, were like, you can't do that to her. You know what I mean? And it was it was like the just trying to outjust the just. And it was just ridiculous. And it's that mob mentality is sick. And sometimes it works in a good way. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes they just witch hunt just a witch hunt. And that got squashed between him and Sasha. It got squashed publicly. So there it is. So you have no say in it because it's between those two now. Like, we have no say in it. That's between them, and it got taken care of. So this whole, you're ruining people's lives sometimes that don't need to be ruined. And people need to chill and ease back, especially some of these people, because I bet you if we did some searching, we'd find some stupid shit on your end. So, and that's my biggest thing. People are such hypocrites a lot of times. And I know I've done and said stupid stuff, but I try to grow as an individual and be better and be a good person because I want to be a good person. I don't want to be a bad person. And I don't want my friends to be that way. You know, I'll check my friends if I'm like, dude, you shouldn't be saying shit like that. Or you think you should be doing that? Because you don't know. You know, you shouldn't be like that. And it's just that mob mentality, though, going back to that, that's just sometimes it's too much. It's sometimes it can work in a very positive way. And then others, man, it's just people witch hunting just for the sake of witch hunting, and they need to cut that out.
Someone made mention, they were like, I'm pretty sure your podcast has said pretty bad things, pretty worse things than what Sammy said. I was like, yeah, but the difference here is we tout ourselves as the most inappropriate pro wrestling show. Don't expect high mentality caliber stuff from us. We're idiots. We know we're idiots.
Where's the line get drawn? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Where does it get drawn? Because sooner or later, you're going to be going after, like I watched Eddie Murphy stand up from years ago, and he was saying things that were offensive back then.
Delirious.
If he were to, exactly, delirious and raw. If he were to say any of that stuff now, it's like he'd be, you know, and I get it now. But
Dave Chappelle is over party. Yeah.
But Dave Chappelle is, you know, he says a lot of stuff, and people try to cancel him, but it's comedy, and but where do you draw the line? Where is it offensive? Right. Where is it not offensive? And some people have that false outrage where they're offended by everything. And that I've seen just some stuff, and it's just like, why are you going after this person?
Yeah.
And like, well, people will try to dig up stuff from years ago, like the whole Kevin Hart, and they're like, you need to apologize for this. No, I'm not apologizing for it. I don't know, man. It's like, when do you start Grand Theft Auto? When is that going to be offensive? When are people going to go back after that? You know, when are people going to, I don't
I'm having know. Too much fun on it. Can we not bring Grand Theft Auto into this?
I know, but that's like, where does the line get drawn? Because you could go, anybody could go after anything. You know what I mean? And if you get big enough people behind it, then it becomes an issue, and then you have to listen to the masses because the masses are your consumer. And then it's like, well, we don't want to lose money, or we want to save face, or we want to do this, so we have to get rid of this person, or we have to do this. And it's just like, I don't know, man. I don't know what's right, what's wrong, where it's like shades of gray. And to me, you know what I mean? Like, you should be able to joke around how you want on your show. And my opinion is, you guys say, hey, we're offensive. So guess what? If someone's saying they're offensive and you're offended by it, don't listen to it, because they're literally warning you. We're going to, do this. If you're going to watch Dave Chappelle, he's going to say something offensive.
You know what you're getting into.
Watch it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't watch the president of the United States speak because I think a lot of things he's going to say I'm not going to agree with, and I think he's offensive in a lot of ways. And it's crazy because he's the president of the United States, so he shouldn't be that way. But I don't watch him because I know I'm going to get upset by it. So I can't, you know what I mean? And maybe that may be a little bit different because he holds a higher, I guess, he's the president, for God's sakes. He shouldn't be saying stuff like that. But yeah, I'm not going to watch a comedian that I don't like, who I think is offensive. If he's talking about racist stuff that I find offensive, I'm not going to watch it,
Right.
Because I know that it's not appealing to me.
Exactly.
And if he was doing it outside of his comedy bit, like Hulk Hogan, when Hogan got caught saying that stuff, well, that's kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hogan got caught dropping, that's not comedy. That's not subjective. That's him going in on something. And he had every right to catch that heat. But, you know what I mean? So it's weird. Where do you draw the line and stuff? And it's so weird because if you get a mass of people coming after you, in the words of Paul Mooney, they'll come in and take your show. You know what I mean? That's your ass right there. If you offend the right person, they will come. They will take your show. And but if you guys offend somebody, and they get the masses, I'll see you. That's, you know what I mean? I'm like, man, I was on that show. They got him. They took his show.
They got that show. Let's get off of the seriousness of the world right now, and let's talk about you again. Like you said, you have been thrown a bone due to COVID. It has brought you into having a storyline along the lines of the Finesse Division champion, Chris Bey. You're going to be tagging with him this week, Tuesday, Impact Wrestling, Access TV, Twitch, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
That's right.
You're going to be going up against TJP and Falaba. Tell me how you're feeling about this. What do you think's going to go on? Just talk about it, man. This is you.
Well, first, I'm going to put TJP. I'm going to put my guys over before we get into the wrestle speak. Chris Bey has only been wrestling for about, I think, 4 years, early 20s. The kid has such a bright future. He knows himself, and he's phenomenal in the ring, and he's only going to get better. He's one of those guys that, there's a reason why he's the X Division champion right now. TJP is one of those guys you get in the ring with, and you think that you're good. You're like, man, I'm a pretty good wrestler. Then you get in the ring with TJP, and you're like, man, I have a long way to go. Because TJ is unreal. Like, the way he moves in the ring, the way he thinks, I learned so much in these past few set of tapings because he's on that next level. Like, you start off here, you get here, and then usually when you're a top guy in the indies, you're here, right? And then you start to get into TV, and you start to work with guys like that, and Rich Swann, and Eddie Edwards, then you're like, I need to be here. I need to be here because they're at that level. That's where TJP is. He's at that level to where, okay, that's a main event guy, and you realize you're not a main event guy yet. You're on the path there. You need to work with guys like him so you can learn how to be. And that's something, that's what I think of him. Then you have Fowler, who's one of the most over people in the company. Not only that, but he's so versatile. He's so funny. The guy can do it all. And you have all of us in the ring. And I do want to say one thing. I want to give credit to myself in a sense where I don't want to feel like the only reason they're throwing me a bone is because of COVID. I want to feel like it is because of everything they've thrown at me. I have excelled at it. You know what I mean? And I do feel that.
Throwing a bone. Yeah, throwing a bone.
But I've said I said the same
like
thing.
This guy, let's put him right here. Yeah.
And it has helped me as an individual because of COVID, because I'm not surrounded by the rest of the hit squad. But I do know that the plan was to move me in my own direction before that. The seeds were planted in Atlanta with Gamma and myself, and then it just never, bloomed because of COVID. Right. But I think people will be very entertained by this match. It's a lot of styles coming together and meshing real well. And I can't wait for people to see it. And I know a lot of people are excited for it. And I feel like the stuff that Chris and I have been doing has been really good. Like, it started off with we're kind of annoyed with each other. It started off like in the I think it was Rebellion when we had this X Division match, and we kind of, he got the win because he took advantage of me, and then we had the tag match with him and Swinger, and he fed me to Willie in order for him to get the win on Willie. But now it's like, hey man, let's put bygones be bygones. Let's work together. Mm-hmm. I'm chumming up to the champ, so I have a better spot. But also, it's like Chris and I, we work well together. We just have this chemistry where it just works. You know what I mean? So I like that. And now it's like the dynamic of me trying to be, hey man, look, what's up, buddy? What's up? And he's just like, oh, Rohit. And then it's like he's annoyed, but he knows what I'm saying is true, and he knows I'll have his back, even though he doesn't want to admit it. And so now you're seeing this thing bloom. And it's funny because I said, hey man, we need a sweet tag name on Twitter, and he's like, no, we don't. And I'm like, cool. I saw that. And then I posted, hey man, everybody, Chris said it's cool that we need a sweet, even though we didn't. So it's like that. God damn it, why are you doing this? And people had some really good suggestions. So I'm gonna continue to build that and see how far I can take it. And so the tag match, I think, is going to be really sweet. You have an established tag team in Fala and TJP against two guys that aren't established, but against two guys as a tag team, but two guys that don't want to lose. And we especially don't want to lose to these two. So we're forced to work together, and because we want to have that, we want to win, and we want to make these guys, look inferior to us. So we're going to do what we have to do and come together as a team to do that. So, and I think they'll dig the match. I can't wait for people to see it.
I'm really looking forward to it, man. I became a fan of Chris Bey back. I went to Vegas for one of the AEW shows, Double or Nothing. Yeah, the first Double or Nothing they were doing. And my friends out there with Pro Wrestling Scorecards that I want to talk real quick about in a second. They were doing something at the man, why is it off the top of my head right now? We were at StarCast, and they had a booth there. So, but they're into the indie wrestling scene there. So they took me to places, and there was one where I saw Bay wrestling. It was like no ring, no nothing. They were wrestling inside of a bar, right? So I watched him wrestle there. They put me onto Orange Cassidy there. I fell into a lot of people that I was like, wow, I never heard of, that my friends at Pro Wrestling Scorecards put me onto. But yeah, watching Chris Bey wrestle, I was just like, holy hell, dude is good, right?
He's really good.
And then all of a sudden he's in Impact, and I was like, oh man, I am so excited for this guy. So yeah, everything that you're saying about Bey is something that I felt just seeing him as a fan in the audience, right? And I do want to just quickly mention the Pro Wrestling Scorecards guys, because they've been doing scorecards for WWE, AEW, and NXT events. They've been doing some NWA, but they're now going to be doing stuff for Impact Wrestling. And it's really awesome. It's basically just like, a pick'em sheet with a whole bunch of extras and things like that. So I'm going to shoot you a link after we get off of this, because it's fun. It's fantasy football meets wrestling pay-per-views, and whoever picks the best gets the best score. There's a reason I'm the Ring Crew champion, like you said.
Oh, there it is.
I know you like to be friends with, chummy with champs, so you can be as chummy as you want with me, brother.
Oh my God.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Our friends at Zebros put this together. They're the guys that actually repainted the Impact titles from when they were blue to now they're red. So it's just, it's coming full circle with all of this.
It is coming for a circle, man. Maybe you'll have the X Division title on.
I'm not that down. I promise you, I'm way heavier than you think I am.
No limits.
No limits.
Tell them, Smitty.
X Division, no weight classes, no limits. It's just anybody can have it. Brian Cage is the X Division champion.
That's right, Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe.
One of the greatest
too. To my wrestling ability, I can take a kick that misses me really well. I've heard I fall very well.
My kicks will hit you, so.
Look, hey man, it was GQ that just
full forearm, dude.
way back in the day, man, when we did stuff with Orlando, the underground wrestling. So yeah, man, dude, I'm really excited for this Tuesday. I'm really excited to be seeing you featured much more prominently. I think you're one of the guys that definitely deserve it, inside and outside of the ring. Just an all around great performer, great talent, great person on the mic, great fucking human being. Just, I will put you over to the end of the days, man, because you deserve every good thing that I have ever seen you get. I'm like, yeah, he's deserved it. Give it to him some more. I've never been shy about that. I've always said you need that rocket strap. You need to be something. And I think it's, God willing, man, here it is,
Yeah, we'll see where it goes. And I'm just having fun in the meantime. There was a while there, I was just like, where is this going, man? What are you guys doing with me? And I asked them, they're like, just keep going. And D'Lo would pull me aside. He's like, just keep working hard, man. And he told me the cream always rises to the top. And dude, you know what the coolest thing about that is, like being at Impact, and even in professional wrestling, especially now Impact, I get to chum it up with guys that I love watching and grew up watching. Like I talked to David Penzer, like on a first name basis. D'Lo Brown, I talk to him. That's my go-to guy anytime I'm frustrated or I have an idea or anything. I talk to RVD. Anytime Sabu sees me, gives me a hug. These are guys that I was imitating in the backyard. These are guys that I grew up watching. And now I'm sitting here talking to them, and they put me over. And to have that, and like D'Lo knows my frustration because, again, he was in the same role. He's like, I was surrounded by guys. He goes, I worked hard. And, he goes, what do you think they're going to do? As I'm thinking I'm having my moment, but here comes The Rock. He's on fire. He's like, and I never got my moment. And he's like, trust me. He goes, it may never happen. It may happen. He goes, but I'm just going to tell you, you need to keep working hard because the cream always rises to the top. He says, trust me on this. Just keep working hard. People know, they see what you do. And even Bravo, he goes like, I'm telling you, man, people like you here. They really like you. It's just weird because I'm that type of person where I need that positive reinforcement. Right. So if I'm doing well, I need to know that I'm doing well. But in this type of work, sometimes they won't tell you that. They cater to, I always say they have like, I always just say a deck of cards. It's a deck of cards, and they have certain ones in their hand. And these are the ones they cater to. And I'm not in the hand. But that doesn't mean that, you know what I mean? It doesn't. I've been told, like, your card's there. Trust me, they pick it up and put it down. They pick it up and they put it down pretty much. They know your worth. They just haven't pulled the trigger on you yet. And they just tell me. And that was good to hear. And I need to hear that because, man, it's been bittersweet. Like, I'm like, these guys are just doing nothing with me. They're just using me as this job dude. And now, I had people pull me aside and explain it to me. Look at the roles you've been in. It'll get better. Just keep hustling. So that's what I've been trying to be very positive about it. And it's bittersweet. Wrestling can be bittersweet. But being able to talk to guys like D'Lo and stuff like that, it's amazing because, like I always tell, and Rhino too, in my garage, I still have their action figures in there somewhere. And that's so cool to me that I talk to them on a first name basis or text them. And it's unreal, man.
It's really crazy, man. Because you talk about D'Lo thought he had a shine, and then all of a sudden The Rock blew up. But it's still at the same time, everyone knows D'Lo. You know
everyone
what I'm saying?
knows. Everybody knows.
He's still a legend.
Yeah, talking about the real deal now. Everybody knows him.
Hey, I watched him wrestle last night on Talkin' Shop-A-Mania.
How was that? I heard it was horrible, but in a good way.
Oh, yeah, very. It was the worst pay-per-view ever, but it was amazing.
That's what I heard. Yeah. What was it on?
Fight TV for like $15.
Okay. That's
about
another
an hour.
Oh, go ahead.
I was saying it's about an hour and a half long, and it's from start to finish. It's great.
What was Johnny Swinger doing on there? That's one of my favorite people right now.
He was all over the place. I mean, he was. It's hard to explain because of the way they shot it, but he was in a lot of different skits throughout the pay-per-view.
Man, Swinger's. I don't know if you guys. Man, Swinger's that guy. Him and Johnny Bravo every week are literally the funniest thing to me. They're so entertaining.
Look at Wrestle House right now.
I want to ask about that.
Like, dude, I was supposed to be a part of that. I was supposed to be a part of that. And I remember Jake and I, cousin Jake, we were just like, dude, this is going to be lame as hell. I don't want to, you know what I mean? But then I was like, you know what? We're going to make the best of it. And then Jimmy Jacobs was like, hey, man, we're pulling you from Wrestle House. We're having you do exhibition stuff. I was like, okay, cool. I'm down with that, you know? And then Jake's like, man, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to like this. And he did it, and I hit him up. I said, how was it? He's like, dude, it was pretty funny. He said, we filmed so much stuff. He said, but it's going to be hilarious. And then I watched them, like the intro they filmed, and I was watching their stuff they did. I was like, this is hilarious. It's so entertaining. It's like you want a real show of this now.
Yeah, it reminds me of surreal life with wrestling.
And that's exactly what it is. When it was explained to us, it was like it's the real world except wrestling. And it was amazing, man. And I can't believe like how well it turned out and stuff like that. We don't get any credit for stuff like that.
Right.
We were doing this stuff and we don't get any credit, and it's so entertaining.
Although I've always said like Impact was they were like ahead of the curve when it came to cinematic matches and things of that sort.
The whole delete stuff, man, and you know, and no one wants to give us credit for that. And
even the stuff with the Undead Realm, with the stuff with like Sue Young and when Allie was when they had the Demon Bunny gimmick with Allie and Rosemary. Like I say, they were ahead of the curve with stuff like Impact has always been ahead of the curve. Because I have been a champion and an advocate for Impact since we started this show.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you know it's true. Shut the fuck up, Mikey.
I just started watching. I watched Slammiversary, and then I instantly upgraded my cable package so I could watch weekly.
And you know what? And that's all we ask is people give us a chance, and we hope you catch it on a good day. Man, I just the wrestlers there: Ethan Page, Josh Alexander, Rich Swann, Willie Mack, the Rascals. Then you had Eddie Edwards.
Sammy Callahan.
Sammy Callahan. All of the ladies there. And then you got Gallows now. You got Heath. You got all this talent. But you have our core group, the Deaners. These are all great workers. You know, whatever role they're put in, whether we're jobbing out or whatever, people don't realize. They just see what you see on TV, but they don't realize how great of a roster we have. And you could put us anywhere, and we're gonna do good things. And it's like we just don't get that credit. I just want people to at least give us a chance and catch us on when we're doing something good or groundbreaking. And I guarantee you're gonna be like, well, I want to see more of that. And you got to go in there with an empty cup. You can't go in there with this
mentality of what you think something should be.
Yes, you got to go
accept it for what it is.
You got to go in there glass, empty. You can't go in there half full, because when you do that, you're going to be like, I guarantee you're going to be like, this is entertaining. There's something different here. Well, let me check this out from week to week. You might not like everything, but like I said, I don't like everything on AEW. I don't like everything on WWE, but there are things that I do enjoy.
Right. And, we were talking about it the other day. Like, Impact is what really started the women's revolution in wrestling. And it has kept it up until even now. Slammiversary, Jordan Grace and Deonna Purrazzo.
Awesome.
A lot of people championed as the best match. I thought it was the best match of the whole card.
And Meltzer gave it a 2.75, which I thought was such an insult. And
if it's not AEW, you're not getting 5 stars. If you're not,
stop being a mark. You know what I mean? Right. I get he's a mark, but don't be that type of mark where if you want to transcend or elevate yourself as you're this wrestling guru, then be a wrestling guru and give credit where credit's due. And he didn't at all. And that was just insulting to me.
Very. All right. Rohit, man, thank you again so much for coming on. We said we were going to talk about 25 minutes. And as always, we went way the hell over. We've been talking for about an hour, brother. So I'm going to let you go.
I appreciate it.
You got a kitchen to paint, brother. You got some real life issues and everything, man.
I have adultivity to do. I got to do that.
So they can find you on Twitter at Hakeem Zayn, on Instagram at RajuZayn80. And make sure you check out this man's Pro Wrestling Tees store, ProWrestlingTees.com/Rohit. Hook that man up. He's got some great looking merch, including some of Dragon Ball Z style stuff that I'm actually on it right now. I'm not even kidding. So I was going to buy a shirt.
Oh, sweet. Thank you. There's a sale coming up. There's a 20% off sale. So wait, I can't remember when that's coming up.
I don't want to wait. We also have a pro wrestling tee stores, and that means it cuts into our profit. So no, I'm not going to wait for that sale. I'm going to go right at you, dog.
Sweet.
I'm going to take care of you because, as always, you've taken care of us. This is the third time you've been on this show. You're the first ever guy that we've ever interviewed. But man, you're coming back. You are rising in the wrestling, like you said. D'Lo said, the cream always rises to the top, and you are the cream, my friend. You are honestly the cream.
Cream always rises to the top.
Bring the deal. Yeah, it's like Impact is your coffee.
That's right.
All right,
Impact's my coffee. We stir it up a little bit. Yeah, all right. A little mocha skin. Okay.
Oh, the mocha skin, the Mad Dragon. Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, we dig it. I appreciate you.
Impact's already done that gimmick already.
Yeah, funny quick story before I go. We were supposed to do the TNA thing in Florida WrestleMania weekend, and I was trying to get booked on it. I said, guys, if you don't have a spot for me, just let me come down and be the Brown Machismo. And I said, hey, yeah, that's it. I said, you're not going to get Jay Lethal back for Black Machismo. Let me be Brown Machismo. People will get it. And then Monty Brown can come out and pounce me if you can get Monty to come out, or have Rhino come out and gore me. You know what I mean? Just let me cut a promo as a Brown Machismo. It'll get over, and then I'll get whatever. You know what I mean? So it just didn't happen. So.
Fucking COVID.
Thanks, guys. I honestly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. We'll talk to you later, man.
Peace out.